Ladies and gentlemen, when you embrace self-talk as a daily practice, especially for a focused period like 3 days, you begin to notice the immense power that your own words hold over your emotions, your thoughts, and even your future. Self-talk is not just a casual habit, it is a powerful force that shapes your reality. Every word you speak to yourself settles deep into your subconscious, telling you who you are and what you believe you can do. That's why dedicating yourself to this practice, even for as short a time as 3 days, can ignite change far beyond what you can initially see. Imagine waking up and immediately choosing to speak kindness to yourself. Instead of allowing worry or fear to set the tone of your day, you choose to look in the mirror and say words of encouragement and strength. Words like I am capable, I am strong, and I am worthy. This might feel unnatural at first, especially if you are used to self-criticism, but that's exactly the reason you must do it. Breaking that cycle of negative self-talk is like setting down a weight you never realized you had been carrying. Your words have power, they shape your mindset and set your heart in the right place. Throughout history, people who achieved great things always spoke to themselves with belief. Even in moments of hardship or uncertainty, they held on to a sense of purpose simply by choosing to believe that they could. This practice doesn't require perfection, it requires consistency. 3 days of focused, positive self-talk can begin to rewrite the old scripts that say you're not enough, too late, or too small. Instead, you give yourself permission to grow into who you truly are. When you talk to yourself like someone you genuinely care about, you begin to stand taller, you begin to move with more purpose because you trust yourself. Words like I believe in myself, I am becoming stronger every day, or I am learning, and that's okay, send messages deep into your soul. This is where true transformation happens on the inside, where nobody else can see. But those inner shifts begin to show up outwardly in the way you approach your goals, relate to others, and face your fears. More than anything, choosing empowering self-talk for 3 days is an act of self-compassion. It's allowing yourself to believe that you deserve the kindness you so easily offer to others. It's deciding that your inner voice will uplift you, not tear you down. This is the voice that will speak life into your dreams when everything around you feels uncertain. And this is the voice that will encourage you to stand back up after a setback because you've already been cheering yourself on. When you make this commitment for just 3 days, you will see that self-talk is more than words, it is a practice of resilience. It reminds you that no matter where you are in your journey, you can speak the word over your life and trust that healing, strength, and courage will follow. Speak to yourself like someone who deserves grace and someone who is loved. Over those 3 days, your heart will feel lighter, your mindset clearer, and your spirit uplifted. And you'll realize that this is a practice you never want to stop, because these kinds of words don't just help you survive, they help you truly live. Affirmations hold an incredible, almost mystical power when it comes to transforming the way you speak to yourself. They are not just feel-good statements, they are seeds of change that you plant deep into your heart and mind. When you commit to using powerful affirmations for even just 3 days, you give yourself a sacred window to reset your thoughts, inspire your soul, and shift your entire inner world. Imagine this practice as a kind of healing ritual. Every morning as you rise and every evening before you rest, you speak simple yet profound words that align you with your purpose and your worth. Statements like I am strong, I am guided, I am worthy of love, or I am filled with divine peace. These are not empty repetitions, they are deliberate choices to feed your soul what it truly needs. The beauty of this process is that when you speak these words, you also begin to believe them. The deeper you repeat them, the more they sink into the soil of your subconscious, ready to bear good fruit. Each affirmation is like a prayer, a direct call to yourself and to God, declaring who you want to become. It's an instant way to speak the word over your life and recognize that healing doesn't just happen in grand gestures, it happens one thought, one breath, one word at a time. Even when the world outside feels loud, confusing, or harsh, your affirmations become an unshakable anchor. They remind you that your value is not decided by fleeting emotions or passing circumstances, but by the divine purpose you carry within. When practiced consistently for just 3 days, this ritual will begin to shift your focus. Instead of zeroing in on your limitations, you will start seeing the strength and potential that God has already placed inside you. Instead of hearing a voice of doubt, you will become familiar with the voice of encouragement. And instead of reacting to life's challenges with fear, you will respond with a quiet, courageous trust. More importantly, you'll begin to feel lighter. Words that uplift and encourage you will break chains of insecurity or worry that may have been tied around your spirit for too long. Affirming your worth reminds you that you deserve healing body, mind, and soul. It also reminds you that you deserve to speak kindly to yourself. In a world that often tells you who you are not, your own voice can and must tell you who you truly are. As you practice these affirmations daily, speak them aloud with conviction. Look yourself in the eye if you can. Hear your voice. Feel the rhythm of your own breath. Let each word sink deeper until it feels less like practice and more like an unchanging truth you live by. And at the end of those 3 days, recognize that you have created a sacred habit, one that will continue to grow and shape you long after this short practice ends. By choosing to speak words of faith, hope, and healing into your life, you're allowing divine strength to do its transformative work. It's a powerful reminder that your words matter and that, through them, you can speak new life into every corner of your being. A positive mindset is more than just seeing the glass as half full. It's a powerful, conscious decision to look at yourself and your life through the lens of possibility, strength, and grace. When you make the choice to speak to yourself in a positive, uplifting way for just 3 days, you begin to shift the very way your mind processes the world around you. This isn't about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about deciding that you will focus on the good that is already present and trust that better is on its way. Imagine the impact of starting each day with gentle, encouraging words spoken to yourself. You rise in the morning, and before you allow any worry or criticism to creep in, you take a deep breath and declare, "I am capable, I am guided, I am surrounded by blessings." These simple, heartfelt affirmations spark a powerful energy. They set the tone for the entire day, reminding you that even if challenges come, you will face them with a mindset that is rooted in hope and purpose. When you repeat this practice for 3 days, your inner world begins to feel different. The negativity that once ruled your thoughts will gradually lose its grip as you grow more familiar with your own voice lifting you up. You'll feel a quiet strength take shape in your spirit, one that doesn't ignore difficulties, but one that looks at them with confidence and says, "I can grow through this. I am resilient. I am becoming better every moment." It's this kind of positive mindset that becomes a foundation for real healing. Just like how small seeds grow into strong trees over time, these positive words take root in your heart. They soothe fears, calm anxieties, and give you the courage to embrace new opportunities. Every thought you choose to speak kindly to yourself is an invitation for divine light to enter those places of self, doubt, or pain, and with that light comes a kind of healing that cannot be rushed. It's gentle, deep, and lasting. Think of all the moments when someone's words built you up or encouraged you to take one more step forward. Now imagine becoming that voice for yourself. Imagine hearing your own thoughts as a source of motivation rather than criticism. In that gentle transformation lies the power to shape not only your mindset, but also your entire future. And this practice doesn't have to end after 3 days. Those days are just the beginning of learning to speak to yourself with compassion and purpose. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. You'll look back and recognize that every challenge you face is met with a sense of possibility, every fear is countered with faith, and every weakness is met with grace. Your mindset is like a garden. With each positive word, you water it. With each hopeful thought, you nourish it. And as you continue to do this consistently, you'll see the garden grow more vibrant, more resilient, and more alive than ever before. That is the true power of a positive mindset, and that is the gift you can give yourself by choosing to speak life into your soul. Resilience is the quiet strength that grows inside you when you choose to face each day with faith and hope, especially when you practice uplifting self-talk for just 3 days. Think of resilience as a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more powerful it becomes. By dedicating these few days to speaking life, compassion, and encouragement over yourself, you are doing more than repeating words. You are rewiring your inner world and teaching your spirit to stand firm in the face of hardship. Every morning you rise and choose to speak kindly to yourself. You send a powerful message to your heart. I can do this. I will not give up. These words may seem small, but they accumulate like drops of water carving a path through stone. The more you say them, the more they sink in. Even when circumstances feel difficult, the gentle sound of your own voice builds an unshakable sense of endurance. It reminds you that you have survived every hard day up to this point and that you can do it again. Resilience is not about pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing to believe that you can grow stronger, wiser, and more courageous through every challenge you face. The practice of positive self-talk acts like a daily ritual that trains your mind to look beyond the immediate struggle and toward the strength you have inside. In those 3 days, as you continue to repeat hopeful thoughts, you give yourself permission to acknowledge your fears and doubts, and then you gently let them go. This is the power of resilience at work, the ability to embrace your whole self, flaws and all, and still rise up with new energy. There will be moments when negative thoughts try to creep back in, telling you that your past defines you or that your mistakes are too big to overcome. But resilience thrives when you counter those lies with truth. Every time you choose to speak words of encouragement instead of harsh criticism, you are breaking a cycle that kept you stuck for too long. You are telling your spirit that you deserve grace and that you believe in your own capacity to heal. And this practice doesn't stop after 3 days. It grows into a new habit, one that strengthens you for life. The resilience you cultivate through positive self-talk becomes a wellspring of inner power that will guide you through every season of your journey. Even when faced with trials that seem impossible, that quiet voice of encouragement will rise up inside you and remind you that you can endure. Resilience is built in these small, sacred moments when you choose to speak love and light over yourself. By nurturing this strength, you also inspire those around you. They see someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, someone who continues to speak truth even when life feels uncertain. They recognize in you a spirit that cannot be defeated because you have learned to fight back with your words, your faith, and your commitment to grow. Resilience is born the moment you decide to believe in yourself, and it expands every time you speak that belief aloud. So take these 3 days seriously. Fill them with gentle affirmations, with prayers whispered into the morning light, with promises that you will never give up on yourself. Let this time become the fertile ground where resilience begins to flourish. And when those days are done, you will look back and see the miracle that began simply by choosing to speak kindly to yourself. That is the unbreakable power of resilience, and it all begins with your words. Faith is a powerful force that can transform the way you speak to yourself. When you dedicate just 3 days to changing the way you talk to yourself, you're not simply going through an exercise of positive thinking, you're choosing to align your inner voice with a deeper sense of trust and belief. Faith is what enables you to speak words of encouragement even when you cannot see immediate evidence of change. It's what anchors you when negativity tries to take hold, and it reminds you that growth and healing often begin long before they are visible. Imagine waking up each morning for 3 days and choosing to look at yourself in the mirror with compassion. Instead of the usual inner critic or self-doubt, you begin to speak words of faith over your life. I am strong. I am capable. I am created with a purpose. You may not feel these truths right away, but faith is choosing to believe them despite what you feel in the moment. It is knowing that the words you plant in your heart will bear fruit over time the same way a seed grows into a mighty tree long after it's planted. Every encouraging thought you repeat becomes part of a quiet process that shapes your identity. This practice is also an invitation to deepen your connection with the divine. Speak the word, Lord. These are powerful words that remind you that real healing and transformation come when you lean into a greater power than your own. Whether you face self, doubt, fear, or lingering pain from the past, there is instant power in declaring over yourself that you are not alone. Divine healing is not some distant dream. It is alive and active the moment you choose to embrace faith. By deciding to speak kindly to yourself for these 3 days, you give this divine energy permission to flow into your thoughts, your words, and your spirit. And it will change you every time you say, I believe I am becoming stronger, or I believe my heart is being healed. You send a message to every part of you, body, soul, and spirit, that you are open to restoration. Even if you have spent years criticizing yourself or doubting your worth, this is your chance to plant new seeds of faith and compassion. And those seeds, nurtured by repeated kind words, will grow into habits that shape your future. By choosing this path, you allow yourself to see that faith isn't passive, it's active. It's moving your lips to speak light into dark places and trusting that light will prevail. You may not notice instant change overnight, and that's okay. The beauty of faith is that it works in the unseen, preparing you to stand taller and more grounded than you ever thought possible. And here's the most powerful part. This faith-filled self-talk doesn't end after 3 days. The discipline you practice in those moments can become a lifestyle one that reaffirms your purpose and fuels your resilience. With each kind word you speak to yourself, you grow into someone who reflects divine healing, someone who can face uncertainty with grace because you have trained yourself to believe that better days are on the way. So begin now. Speak the word, Lord. Trust in the instant power of divine healing, and let this practice of faith shape you into the person you were always meant to be. Let your words guide you to a deeper, steadier sense of self, rooted in the knowledge that you are loved, capable, and worthy of all the good that is unfolding. Inner healing begins the moment you choose to speak to yourself differently. It is a gentle process that doesn't require perfection, only your willingness to embrace words of compassion, encouragement, and grace. When you decide that for just 3 days you will change the way you speak to yourself, you open the door to a profound shift inside your heart and soul. Too often, we walk around carrying invisible wounds, harsh words we've spoken to ourselves for years, memories that still sting, or limiting beliefs that have built walls around our happiness. But in choosing to use your voice to soothe, uplift, and inspire yourself, you give yourself permission to heal. Think of those 3 days as sacred ground, a time to reset the way you relate to yourself. Each morning you look in the mirror and speak life into your being. Words like, you are enough, you deserve peace, and you are worthy of joy may feel unfamiliar at first, but they hold divine power. When you speak these words aloud, you activate a process that begins to mend wounds you didn't even realize were there. Healing is rarely an overnight miracle, but faith tells you that even small steps taken with intention have the power to change the trajectory of your life. Every kind phrase you repeat becomes a seed of restoration, going into the deeper layers of your spirit. This practice is also an expression of trust in the Creator. Speak the word, Lord. This is more than a request. It is an invitation for divine healing to come alive in your thoughts and in your speech. Even if past experiences have left you feeling damaged or unworthy, these words speak into your present moment with instant power. They remind you that healing is not only possible, it is promised. It is available every time you choose to align your voice with love and grace. You cannot control every thought that comes up, but you can choose which thoughts to speak and to nourish. And there is something profoundly brave about this practice. It takes resilience to speak kindly to yourself after years of negative self-talk. It takes faith to believe that 3 days of different speech can unlock a deeper, gentler way of being. But when you make that commitment, you will discover that inner healing is not as distant as you may have thought. The voice you hear most often is your own, so make sure that voice is one that comforts and supports you. By shifting your inner dialogue, you send a powerful message to your soul that you are safe, valued, and loved just as you are. This is an ongoing process, and you will feel the effects even after those 3 days. The more you practice this new way of speaking to yourself, the more your inner wounds will close and your strength will grow. You will begin to experience a lightness you may not have felt in a long time, as though chains are breaking one by one. That is the miracle of inner healing at work. So let these 3 days be the start of a deeper journey. Speak kindly to yourself. Trust that every good word you sow is an invitation for divine power to bring healing where it is most needed. Let your speech reflect the beautiful, resilient soul you truly are, and watch as your heart begins to heal in ways you never thought possible. Personal growth often begins with the way you talk to yourself. It is one of the most powerful tools you have to change the direction of your life, and it's something you can do right now, starting with just 3 days. Every word you speak to yourself, whether aloud or in your thoughts, carries energy that shapes your mindset and your reality. When you make the conscious choice to speak with compassion, strength, and belief for just a short period of time, you ignite a process of personal growth that can surprise you. Imagine looking into the mirror and telling yourself, "You are strong, you can do this, and your dreams matter." Initially, it might feel unfamiliar or even a bit forced. That's okay. Growth begins with practice. It's like planting a seed. Every encouraging word is water and sunlight that your spirit needs to grow. And as you repeat those words, especially over a focused period like 3 days, your heart begins to believe them more and more. The most profound personal growth is born when you give yourself permission to rise up, to speak life into every corner of your soul that has been waiting for encouragement. This process requires faith, a belief that even the simplest practice can produce extraordinary change. Speak the word, "Lord, let every thought I speak to myself become a vessel for divine strength." When you align your inner voice with truth and compassion, you stop underestimating yourself. Personal growth doesn't happen in one grand leap. It happens in these quiet, powerful moments of self-recognition. It happens when you choose to speak kindly to yourself instead of allowing self-criticism to take control. Think of the most inspiring people you know. Many of them didn't arrive at their success overnight. They cultivated their inner voice one day at a time. They practiced positive self-talk and built an unshakable sense of who they were, despite any obstacles they faced. That is personal growth. It is the process of transforming from someone who lets fear and negativity have the last word into someone who answers every challenge with resilience and grace. And after those 3 days, you will begin to notice subtle shifts. You may catch yourself before a negative thought takes hold. You may feel more grounded in your decisions. You may even feel more hopeful about your future. This is where personal growth truly blooms, when you recognize that your words matter, that your voice has power, and that you can change your own story simply by changing the way you talk to yourself. You have the ability to do this. You have the strength inside you already. These 3 days will help you draw it out. Personal growth is not reserved for other people or someone who seems more capable or more spiritual. It is yours for the taking. Every encouraging word you speak into your own soul is a stepping stone toward becoming the person you were meant to be. So, take this challenge as a heartfelt commitment to yourself. Speak to yourself like you would to someone you truly love. Encourage yourself with honesty and compassion. Trust that each day will build on the one before it, creating a cycle of belief and healing that empowers you to grow into the version of yourself you have always hoped to become. Personal growth is waiting, and it begins with your voice. Transformation is a profound, beautiful process that begins deep within. often triggered by the simplest but most powerful changes, especially the way you talk to yourself. The thought that you can begin to speak to yourself in a more empowering, faith-filled, and hopeful way for just 3 days may sound small, but those 3 days hold the seed of an incredible transformation. Because when you choose to change your inner dialogue, you also begin to change the story you live by. Every word you speak inside your heart shapes your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Every positive thought you embrace is like a light pushing back the darkness of fear and self-doubt, creating a ripple that reaches every part of your life. When you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, "I am strong, I am capable, and I am deeply loved," you set a new tone for your day. It is an intentional, deliberate practice that may feel unfamiliar at first, but this is where true transformation begins. The first time you say those words aloud, you may hesitate. Maybe your inner critic tries to rise up and argue back. But you don't give up. You hold on to the process with patience and faith, and something beautiful happens. Over time, your soul begins to believe you. This is not just empty positivity. It is an active partnership between you and God, a powerful, instant process where you speak life into yourself with His truth. Speak the word, Lord. You say in prayer, allowing divine light to pour into the places where fear or pain once lived. That light is like a healing touch, reaching the wounds you have carried for too long and whispering to you that you are more than those wounds. Even after only a few days of this practice, you will begin to feel a subtle shift. It's as if someone has cleaned the windows of your soul, allowing the light of hope and strength to flood in. This is the beginning of transformation, a process that can take you from a place of self-criticism to one of self-compassion, from hesitation to confidence, from fear to resilience. Imagine what happens if you continue for 7 days, then 21, then a month. Every time you speak to yourself with faith, you are rewriting the blueprint of your inner world. Every kind word you say is reinforcing a deeper truth, that you were created for more, that your past mistakes don't define you, and that every day is an opportunity to grow into the person God knows you can be. Transformation also means learning to embrace your own power. You'll begin to realize that you are not stuck, you are in process. Every small victory in those 3 days reminds you that you can do this. Even when life gets difficult or when old habits try to return, you will have built a new, more hopeful foundation inside yourself. Your thoughts will become gentler, your actions more purposeful, your faith more grounded. And as this personal transformation takes hold, it won't stop with you. Others around you will sense the change, they will see the light in your eyes and the strength in your voice. This is the true beauty of transformation. When one person is healed and uplifted, they inspire healing and hope in others too. Your words shape your reality. You are capable of so much more than you have ever believed. Let these 3 days be the first step in transforming your thoughts, your heart, and your future. Every encouraging word you speak is a seed planted in fertile soil. Trust the process, speak life over yourself, and believe that this small commitment will yield something greater than you ever imagined. Transformation is already underway, you just need to speak the word.